everyone, this is Corinth Landwalker, and this afternoon we have another exciting episode, so to speak, of Star Citizen. Back in the groove, back on Saturday. Last week I had details get in the way of doing a stream on Saturday, so I wound up doing one on Sunday instead. The fun will not stop there, however, because I will also likely not be streaming next Saturday either. Yeah, it's a job sort of thing. I should be getting past some of the yucky stuff soon, however. I may do a Sunday stream at that weekend as well. Don't know yet. I'll play it by ear. So, one of the things I've wanted to do in Star Citizen for a while, at least as far as on stream goes, is to fiddle around kind of in depth, but not really in depth, on various specific ships in the game. And I figured that perhaps I would start with one of the, I guess, more maligned ships out there, the Mustang Alpha from Consolidated Outland. Now, the reason why I say somewhat maligned is because it is a combat vessel and nothing else. And it's also a starter ship, which means it's one of the two cheapest packages you can buy in the game, well, to play the game. The other one being the Aurora MR, which I view as a superior choice because you can do more than just fight in the Aurora. Whereas in the Mustang, you're locked in. If you buy the Mustang as part of your starting package, you are saying, yes, the only thing I want to do is blow up starships. Well, at least in space. The ground element is still available to anybody, but, you know, you're not doing any cargo hauling, you're not doing any box delivery, you're not doing anything along those lines. You are solely out there to use your ship either to go from point A to point B or to blow up other ships at point C. That's pretty much the case for the Alpha. So, let's take a look at some of the default options on the Alpha. I conveniently have the Mustang Alpha available to me because of in-game purchase. It's obviously not expensive there. That was how I got my current Aurora too. So I'm going to go to my vehicle loadout manager, grab the Mustang Alpha, and let's take a look at the basic stats. Most of which will mean absolutely nothing because I am not a big stat guy. If you want to see the nitty-gritty on stats, I recommend you go to Urkel and look them up. Let's see if my bot's working. And it looks like my bot is not working. Either that or the details about it are shot to pieces. Because I'm pretty sure that was... yeah. I have a bot that's supposed to be popping stuff up in here, but for some reason it doesn't seem to be operational at the moment. Let me try to click it on and off. And you would think it would because, you know, I'm using the Streamlabs for it, and I'm using the CloudBot, which is Streamlabs itself as well, so you would think that the stupid bot would be working without any problem. Hey, Cap. Glad to see ya. How's life treating you on your end of the monitor? I am kind of screaming at my... okay, maybe it's showing up now. Let me try again. Cool. No, my bot is dead. I have no idea if the problem is on my Streamlabs or if the problem is with the bot side. I don't know. It's really annoying. I feel like I should be beating on it. What can I do? It's something I'll have to check into at some point. Okay, well, back to business. If you do a search on Google for Urkel, you'll come up with a site. They'll have all the statistics you could possibly ask for on each and every object that you can put on your ship. But right now I've got basically the entire default loadout, which means I have a Rush Quantum Drive, which is meh. I've got Winter Star Coolers, a Zap Jet power plant, and 2 ink shield generators. Again, bleh. These are all size 1 equipment, which isn't surprising because Mustang Alpha is a small ship. Now, when you buy the default Mustang Alpha, one thing you're going to notice very quickly is that you only have 1 turret, a pair of cannons, and that's it. But you've got slots on your right and on your left wing, and for some reason that I don't fully understand, it's claiming missile racks, but you can't actually put on missile racks. I don't know why that is. I'm sure there's a really, really good reason for it, but hell if I know. So what we're going to do is we're going to give this a little bit of a test flight with that default loadout, and we're going to see how well it works out. Now, I do have a caveat here. I have been flying for some time in this game, so I've got a pretty good idea of how to fly. So if I make it look really easy at the low levels, it comes from experience. Mustang Alpha. Now that said, I would highly recommend that after your initial attempt at dogfighting, your first few successes of bounties, I really, really, really recommend you use the initial profits to buy guns for those wings. In fact, you might even consider replacing the guns on the nose turret with something maybe more suited. More on that as we go along. Presently, I'm at Everest Harbor, the space station in geosynchronous orbit over the city of Lorville on the planet of Hurst. It is always my go-to spot because you can do pretty much anything in the star system. You can bounty hunt, you can ground fight, you can do deliveries. Don't have a whole lot in the way of drug running missions. You can haul cargo. You can do almost anything here. Now, all that said, I may or may not be spending more time in Crusader in a few weeks, because hopefully before the end of the month, we will see the 3.14 patch land, or as we know it, the Pi patch. I'm bad. And I might hang around the new area of Orison a bit. Or maybe not. I am undecided. Okay, you really can't get a good look at the ship as well as I would have liked, because we're kind of on the dark side of... Okay, let's try the other side. We seem to have sunlight coming from the other end, so maybe it'll look better on this side. No, I think we need to get a little higher angle of sun to properly appreciate the shaping of this vessel. There's our guns, and you can tell from the shape They are laser weapons. So we're going to hop into the pilot seat and take a look at the interior. It is not a fancy interior. You'll see that we've got what looks like one really big panel here. But the good news is once you power your ship on, it does break itself out into numerous multifunctional displays.
All systems operational.
A lot of ships, they'll have literally different displays. But this is just one display broken out into multiple displays. I'm not a big fan of the orange display, but I think that's consolidated Outland's thing, so we'll live with it. Alright, let's get an exterior view. Oh, sun's getting higher, so it's getting a better view of the ship. And we're going to take off here, bring up the landing gear, and I'll bring the wings down as well, so it looks more like what it actually is, a light fighter. Not a bad ship.
Thank you. And please visit again.
We're going to see just how well it performs at the low end. My goal here is I'm going to do the low end, and I'm going to work my way up through the various rankings here. So I'm going to look at the very low risk threat, the low risk if it's available, then a medium risk, then a high risk, then a very high risk. We're not even going to bother trying this on a extreme risk, because I will. And the whole point here is go through this list until somebody blows me up, because that gives a pretty good baseline as to what can be handled with the default stock loadout for the Mustang. So with that in mind, in the light of being a complete new player who has some idea of what he's doing, because if I can't simulate not knowing what I'm doing, because I know what I'm doing. I can't get my head back that far. Also, always pick up a call to arms. If you run into anything that's not your primary target, it's free money. Never pass up free money. Unless you're trying to, zip through a group bounty. Our map will take us to our target location. Looks like we're going to be aerial. Up right there. You'll see that the fuel tank is it's in line with a lot of light fighters. 583 units of quantum fuel. What exactly does that mean? Well, let's see. If I were to set my route to go to Crusader, I would burn off more than half of that fuel. If I were to go to, say, Microtech, I would basically be doing a one-way trip. Now, what this means is that it has a somewhat better fuel tank than, say, some of the other ships that are light fighters. I think the Arrow might have a worse fuel efficiency. And that's handled by the quantum drive. The quantum drives impact how much fuel you use. I don't think it impacts the fuel tank. I've never actually checked that. One of these days I should experiment and see if it affects the fuel tank at all. But it does affect fuel efficiency. It affects the required fuel. There are light fighters that would not be able to go from Hurston to Microtech in one jump. You would have to take a pit stop at one of the R&R stations. That's okay. That's okay. Not all ships are going to be able to do everything. And I think there are a lot of people who still have trouble with that idea. Not me, though. Now, you'll notice that we have a two-dimensional radar on this vessel, which is not one of my favorite things, like, at all. I'm a bigger fan of 3D radar. Basically, the inner ring basically handles everything in front of you, relatively speaking, and everything between the outer ring and the inner ring is basically saying that's all behind you. But it doesn't help when you're trying to do quantum jumps. So you gotta follow the little triangle symbol that you see on your, I guess for lack of a better phrase, on your visor or your helmet or what have you. If I'm over here, if I'm pointing away, if you look at the left-hand side there, you'll see this triangle, little hollow triangle. Go in that direction, and it takes you to where your next quantum travel point is, your waypoint. Nav point, however you want to phrase it.
Quantum travel complete.
So even if you have a two-dimensional radar, you should still be able to nail down what direction you need to be pointing. Of course, the problem with quantum drives these days is half the time they don't bloody work unless you break alignment and realign. I'm reasonably sure the problem involves the calibration. And if it calibrates before your spooling is complete, I think that's part of the problem. But I can't prove it. At least not beyond a shadow of a doubt. I mean, it seems to be the case, but
Quantum travel complete.
that could just be dumb luck. Yeah, look, I'm pointing at the target, and you can see that the system spooling up is done before, just barely before calibration. Now, sometimes it'll work. It worked that time. But oftentimes it won't. So that's going to be basically the way it works there. We're just going to have to learn to live with that. I'm going to take a quick glance at my stream. I still don't have my bot working. I have no idea what the heck is going on. So if anybody hits that follow button and there's no acknowledgement of it, I apologize in advance because the stupid bot isn't working, and I have no idea why. That's right, Streamlabs. Just make it easier and easier for me to decide, nah, let's use a new bot. I'm going to accelerate a bit. We always, when you get a bounty, you tend to drop like 30 kilometers away from the neutralized target. And that's not necessarily where the target's actually going to be. That's just kind of the general area. We'll get an update when we're closer. There we go. Of course, it's also possible that we get updated when we're not closer. Now you'll notice we've got the circle in the center screen here that indicates that gimbals are active. Those guns are on a turret, so they can always be gimbaled. Since they're the only weapons I'm carrying on this vessel right now, I'm going to leave it gimbaled. When I get to the point of adding weapons to it, I'm going to take off the gimbals and put them in a locked position. But for now, we're going to stick with the gimbals. We are 15 kilometers away and closing on the target. Let's increase our speed a bit again, because I'm always in a rush. "10 kilometers in closing. I should see the target very soon." Now again, there are no missiles on the Mustang, at least not on the Mustang Alpha. I seem to recall that one of the variants definitely has missiles.
Contact.
And there we go. An M50 Interceptor. We're looking at a very fast ship here, which is generally not something I want to be shooting cannon fire at.
Target has been destroyed.
But on the other hand, I really can't argue with the results. Now, just like that, I've raked in 4,900 UEC. And the reason I got more is because my standing with Hearst and my reputation with Hearst and Security. Despite all the horrible things I say about them, they still hold me in high regard. And I get, I think, what is it, a 10% bonus? Let's take a look at the reputation button here. With Hearst and Security, they tell me that I get a 10% bonus for every kill. Well, for every bounty, not for every kill. Let's be honest about it. And that got me my 4,000, and I got 900 back, which, you know, I could be wrong here because, you know, it's been a very long time since I've done math. Taking math class is hard and all that. But I'm pretty sure that 10% of 4,000 is 400. Now, it's possible I was misreading that. Maybe I was getting 4,400, not 4,900. Well, I'll try to pay more attention to our next level of bounty. We've seen that you can take out a very low-risk bounty very quickly, very easily, no real problems here. We'll go for 5,000 now. Now, keep in mind, the goal here, from a certain point of view, I'm having no trouble hitting my target. There we go. The primary goal for an early set of bounty hunting is to be able to afford better guns. Well, not just better guns, but more guns. I am using nose cannons, default loadout. The preference would be able to get past that as soon as possible. Why is my ship not moving? Here we go. Flag. But right now, we'd like to see how well those two guns will do in various levels of bounty hunting. Now, I do want to also point out that if you get waxed the first time you do a bounty, don't be discouraged. You are not a bad pilot. You're just inexperienced. You just need to learn the various ways of flying, which in this case is mostly circle strafe, which is the best way to deal with a lot of these targets. I don't recommend it in PvP, however, because PvP is a much different animal. For starters, it tends to be a lot more vicious. But I think the big key here is to have your nose pointed to your enemy as much as possible. Because if your nose is pointed to your enemy, that means you can shoot your enemy. I see that the target has chosen not to show up yet. And that's a danger sometimes, that you get the bounties, go to the location, and right now, it's like the bounties aren't here. So you gotta, kick back, relax, try to see when they show up. And speaking of showing up, I'll take a quick second while that's all going on to scream at my Streamlabs again and figure out why the heck is the bot not working. Oh, they recommend you try 10 minutes on this thing. Yeah, well, sure, why not? It's not like it's doing me any good at the moment. Oh, and while I was away, guess who managed to spawn in somewhere? 6 kilometers away. A little more than that.
Contact.
And this guy is flying something a little more lethal than an M50. Aegis Gladius. So, potentially speaking, this could be more of a fight. They've got decent shields. They've got...
Target has been destroyed.
It's really impolite when I'm trying to hype up a ship and then it just blows up. Come on now. I am very disappointed. Very, very, very disappointed. 6,500 UEC. I know my math is not that bad. 6,500 is 1,500 more than the bounty. There is no reality, no math anywhere in the world where 1,500 is equal to 10%. Clearly, someone out there, and for heaven's sake, we're talking computers here. Computers are good at math. This is their thing. I have no idea where I'm getting the extra money. It's not coming from the Bounty Hunters Guild. They just give me licenses. But you know what? You know what? I don't care. Friends and family bonus. Well, maybe it should be more along the lines of enemies and... what would be the opposite of families? But the way I see it, they want to give me more money for these? They want to give me more than I should be getting? Hey, I can do that. I am more than happy to do that. Unless... No, that still wouldn't work. I was wondering for a minute there if maybe I could be getting call to arms money consolidated into that bounty. It seemed unlikely, but the math doesn't work on that either. The guy would have to be, crime stat freaking 4 or 5 for me to be getting that, and I find that highly unlikely. It is what it is. So we've done the low-risk threat. We can apparently do a low-risk threat with, well, exactly what it says on the tin. Low risk. So now I'd like to do a medium-risk threat. 7,500. We'll see if the default Mustang is able to hold up the abuse against medium threats. And this is where things start getting entertaining too, because if you don't start killing these guys out fairly quickly, their friends start showing up. In other words, they get their friends and family bonuses in. And these guys are hiding over at Aberdeen. A moon famed far and wide for its rehabilitation centers. Or, depending on how you look at it, space prison. Okay, something is going on here. My quantum drive is spooled. I can hear it, but I'm not getting any alignment. There we go. In case I haven't mentioned it in any previous moments, Star Citizen is an alpha game. It is in development. It is not release ready, but the folks who pledged for it may play it in its alpha state, with the understanding that, yes, it has more bugs than the Starship Troopers movie.
Quantum travel complete.
And yes, I've used that quote a zillion times, and no, it hasn't changed one bit. I don't like this. I seem to be... Yeah, that's obstructed, so... Luckily there's an orbital marker right here, so we'll go there.
Quantum travel engaged. Quantum travel complete.
Now, at this point, if I had been paid like, I should have been paid, I would have 9,000 UEC. I want to keep that number in mind right now because that would indicate how much money I would have to spend to buy better guns. That said, once I get blown up by these guys, I'm not going to be buying better guns because I already have better guns. I'm just going to swap them out from different ships or my inventory. Also, it's worth keeping in mind that the inventory I speak of is going to undergo some changes later this year if all goes well. 3.15 is supposed to finally bring us the physicalized inventory, course, that's what they said about 3.14 originally, too, so delays happen. Adapt and overcome. Target is within 9 kilometers and closing rapidly. It looks like he's on the other side of that space rock. Maybe. He is flying a Drake Buccaneer, so this will be a fight. Even though Drake ships tend to be hot garbage, it's still much better armed, probably better shielded.
Weapon system failure imminent.
So this is what's going to be. This is a dangerous fight. If he gets a lot of hits on me, he will tear me apart. Oh, and looks like he's got his friends already here. So now we are looking at a real furball.
Shield hit.
I do kind of want to take out the Buccaneer first because no, I didn't lose a wing yet. But I am taking hits. Okay, Buccaneer down. Let's take out his friends.
Has been destroyed.
Remember the free money I was talking about? Here we go. One guy is a Gladius. We already know that I can take him out. Other guy is a Mustang Delta, which is one of the Mustang variants. I believe it is the fighter variant, but I can't prove it. I know it's not the racing variant. Oh, there's pieces of one of the ships I blew up.
Failure imminent.
So Buccaneer was definitely a bit more of a fight than expected.
Failure imminent.
But still able to take him out just using defaults.
Failure imminent.
Gotta let my weaponry cool down a little bit. And that's another thing to note. I don't generally overload my weapons except on special occasions. So I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm not overclocking the weapon. It's not overcharging.
Failure imminent.
And I still have overheating issues with these guns. Oh, desync. That could have gotten ugly. The Delta is apparently doing a pretty good job on tanking. I've been taking out Gladiuses with less effort. And apparently he's got his wing guns attached. Oh, too close, too close. That almost got a little uglier than I wanted it to be. Oh, now he's desynced himself out too, which makes life more entertaining. Been a lot of desync issues lately, apparently.
Weapon system failure imminent.
I can't believe I'm having more trouble fighting the Mustang here than I. Oh no! Well, the good news is we're both still alive. Actually, to be honest, I'm more concerned about me being alive than him.
Target
There we
has been
go.
Destroyed.
Ow! Despite my little collision, however, I seem to be still intact. At least I don't see any surprises on the ship that indicates that I've taken any real damage. And my display tends to bear that out. There's nothing red on here. So we've just taken out a medium risk target. And did I just get a reputation increase? No. Well, I am getting reputation increases, but it's not significant. I mean, I'm doing these low targets and I still got a ways to go before I go to advanced operative. But now we're going to go for something substantially more difficult. High-risk threat. High-risk threats are determined as large multi-crew craft with average support. This means I stand a better than good chance of being tiny bits and pieces after this particular mission. I will say, though, it's awfully polite that they're close by. Can a default Mustang handle a high-risk threat.
Quantum travel engaged. Quantum
Okay,
travel.
technically not because high-risk target, but you know what? It's still a threat, so... Oh boy, this could be tricky. I might be skimming the atmosphere here. Presuming, of course, that quantum drive decides to work. There we go.
Quantum travel engaged. Quantum travel complete.
We've dropped 34 kilometers away and change. Still using my guns, and I feel compelled to mention that I'm pretty sure that the guns on here are size 1s. Let's take a quick double check on that. Because size 1 guns mean they are not exactly... No, they're size 2s, huh? That makes the nose turrets a size 3. I'm a little surprised. Not arguing, but I'm surprised. That might account for some of the success I'm having, because on the Aurora, they're using size 1 guns. And I'm used to flying the Aurora more than I'm with the Mustang. For anybody who's just stopped in, I am doing a focus look at basically the performance of the Mustang Alpha, one of the 2 starter ships available in the game at the cheapest price. Meaning, if you're buying the game, you're going to buy one of the packages. The cheapest packages are the Aurora and the Mustang. And we're doing a little bit of a demo, you could say, of what happens when you take the default Mustang with no extra bells and whistles and put it up against the various bounty hunting targets. It's done very well against the very low risk and low risk threats, targets, whatever. It managed to survive a conflict with medium risk, and now we are trying a high risk. And the high risk one I fully expect to be the doom of the Mustang, because they're substantially tougher. I could be looking at a Hurricane. I could be looking at a Vanguard Warp. If I'm looking at a Valkyrie, then we're probably dog food at that point, because those guys are substantially tougher. But we will find out. Unfortunately, sometimes you have to wait for the target to show up, because he hasn't. While I'm waiting, let's see if I can turn the cloud bot back on and see if it actually starts doing what it's supposed to be doing. I mean, seriously. The whole point of having the bot here is so that I'm able to see when people are following and doing all that stuff. And so far, it has been completely MIA. Okay, our high-risk threat, oh yes, of course it's going to be a Valkyrie. So my prediction is that this will be where the Mustang Alpha curls up and dies. I mean, yes, you could have a loadout that does pretty well against the Valkyrie, even in the Alpha. But this first set of runs, all default, I am expecting all sorts of horrible surprises to happen here. And I've already been radar locked. So let's start firing. The Valk has substantially better shields. It's got lots of guns.
Failure imminent.
And, even better, it will be having support craft showing up anytime.
Weapon system.
And that is when things are going to get really, really, really interesting, like the Chinese curse. Yeah, I'm taking hits. He's taking hits too, but the bad news is
Weapon system. Failure imminent.
I don't think his shields are really feeling it. Again, no missiles. Black missiles are going to be a problem. Maybe a little bit of a problem. My overheating guns are going to be a bigger problem. Now, since I'm using energy weapons, I don't have to worry about running out of ammo. That's the good news. The bad news is, because they're energy weapons, they don't have a whole lot in the way of shield penetration. And what that means is, I could be taking these shots from here to next week, and I'm not doing a thing to his hull. And his shields are regenerating faster than the amount of damage I can do. But we do have some good news. The good news is his reinforcements haven't shown up yet. Desync, on the other hand, is doing just fine. Rumble, rumble, rumble.
Weapon system failure imminent.
Yeah, if I get to the point where my weapon system stops working entirely, good heavens,
Failure imminent.
we're getting some serious desync here. I mean, look at that thing. It's like bouncing around like a rabbit. A space rabbit. And so far, from the looks of it,
Weapon system
I'm still
failure
doing
imminent.
buffness to him on shields and damage. In the meantime, he's still hitting me, even though he's not really doing much damage to me. And the desync is probably also making it difficult to tell if I'm evading his fire or not, because I can't actually see him firing,
Weapon system
but I can see the hits appearing on my MFD, telling me that I'm being hit.
Weapon system failure imminent.
And the fact that he's desyncing like crazy means I can't really focus fire on any particular shield. So I don't even have that going for me.
Weapon system failure imminent.
So at best, we're fighting to a draw here. Oh, maybe a little too close. Oh, did I just whack him? I think I just whacked him. But all my parts are still attached. Ooh. All my parts are still attached, but I almost decided to detach them. Very rude. Very rude.
Weapon system failure imminent.
Something is going on here. I'm seeing all these blue sparklings happenings. And I'm not sure if that's his shield or mine. Oh no. Well, the good news is I'm still alive. And the fact that I've taken a couple collisions now in this fight, well, not this fight, but when I've been fighting with this ship, gives you an indicator of, uh-oh. He just had a friend pop in. The reinforcements have arrived. It's a Mustang, so you know what? I'm going to take out that Mustang now, because I really don't want him bugging me when I'm trying to deal with the Valkyrie there.
Weapon system failure imminent.
That said, the Mustang was a lot tougher of a fight than the other fight I'd had previous, so this is not going to be a fast kill unless things go really, really well for me. Good news is he's not doing a very good job of hitting me
Failure
either.
imminent.
Ah, stupid desync.
Failure imminent.
And another reinforcement has shown up. Now we're going to run into the little problem of superior numbers, and there, desyncing like crazy. I'm beginning to think that this is not a server I want to be on.
Target has been
Okay,
destroyed.
got one of those annoyances out of the way. What about the other one? Flying an Eclipse. Now, the Eclipse, by the fact that I can see him right now, has already killed his effectiveness. Because the Eclipse is a stealth bomber with really big torpedoes. The thing is,
System failure
that kind of thing isn't really good against a small light fighter like me. It does have additional weaponry, but it ain't much. Its primary weapon systems are its torpedoes. Oh, did something just whack me? Why, yes, something did just whack me. So, that tells us that the high-risk targets might be pushing it for the baseline Mustang. I mean, if you're a really good pilot, you might be able to do something with the default weaponry. But I do not qualify as a really awesome pilot. And oh, there we go. My bot is finally active. About freaking time. Sheesh. let's do a quick test on that. There we go. That's what I was trying to do earlier. If you're interested in the nitty-gritty details as to what all the weapons and all that will do, and basically theory craft your starships, that is the site to go to. Okay, I am lagging so horrible here, it's not even funny. You know what? I'm going to jump servers. This is just too insane. I mean, seriously, I'm getting so much desync and lag and stuff. So we're going to go back to the main menu. We're going to go painfully to the main menu. Preferably sometime this year. This is a bad sign. You know what? I think, in fact, at this point, I'm pretty sure that we may have had. Okay, let's kill the client entirely and see if a restart will do any good. Man, I crashed so hard that the task manager isn't even coming up properly. There we go. Time to bring the client back up. On the right side, this almost guarantees I'll be on a different server. Find out momentarily. Keep bringing up the screen here. And we have the main menu back up. Let's try to be a little specific and tell them to go to a US server. Maybe that'll make a difference, maybe not. Usually I do best, but we'll see what happens. Now the downside of doing it this way is that I have yet to claim the Mustang, so it is still in a destroyed state, but since the Mustang is a starter ship, it will claim very quickly. And it can be expedited also very quickly, very cheaply. I may just do a standard claim though, because part of what I want to do is put on some different weapons. Loading screen time varies. Sometimes it's longer than others. One decent way to help your confidence level that yes, something is happening is to go to the console and see if anything is happening on the console. If stuff is happening, and it is, then you are not stuck in some kind of endless loading loop. That said, sometimes trying to read it tends to be pretty distressing. Trying to allocate memory for an animation file that doesn't exist is kind of a disturbing thing to read. But the fact that things are happening, that tells you at least that you're not stuck on an infinite loading screen. That things will eventually get you into the game itself. Ta-da! I want to pause for a moment before I try standing up because, well, one of the things I've also noticed lately is that if you stand up from the hab right away, you get yanked back down. Let's see, let me just take a quick look at the... Okay, I don't recognize any name on chat, so that tells me that I am definitely on a different server. And that is exactly what I wanted. Because things were obviously getting ready to go to pot. So, back at Everest Harbor. Somewhat worse for the wear. One day, I want to see those vending machines actually work. One day, one day. So we'll hop over to the terminals and run a claim on the Mustang. Aberdeen, destroyed, claim. Delivery time, 2 minutes and 15 seconds. And expedited timer shows me that I could expedite it for a little over 300 and get it right now. But I'm not going to do that yet because the first thing I want to do is play around with the weapons. And I'm doing this without the benefit of using Urkel myself, so I may be writing checks that the power plant can't cash. So the first thing I'm going to look at are the wing mounts. Left wing, right wing are both size 1 weapons. So honestly, I'm going to throw the gimbals on there because why not? I can't put a size 2 on a size 1 slot. So there's no real point avoiding the gimbals. Now what I'd like to do is use some repeater weaponry. And I'm thinking maybe going ballistic might be the way to go here. Or... no, let me look at my cannon slots first. Maybe I should do that first. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap out the cannons for repeaters. Specifically the attrition 2s. And the reason I'm grabbing those is because they do a lot more damage as they overheat, theoretically speaking. And I can make use of that. Now as for my other size 1s, I am tempted to yank out distortion weapons on here. What else I got? Scatter guns, neutrons. Maybe the neutrons will go. Problem is, well, I gotta be close range anyway. Yeah, let's use the neutrons. Also repeaters. I also see I have attrition 1 repeaters, so I can really consolidate. But you know, Sometimes mad science is the name of the game. And we love our mad science at my work here. Alright, now that I've equipped my ship with extra weapons and hopefully more lethal weapons, let's see where things are at with my... Okay, it looks like it took me the 2 minutes for getting it claimed, so I can claim it without paying any credits whatsoever. Pad 1. Now, they are both energy weapons, which means, again, shield penetration will be virtually nothing. If I went with ballistics, I would have shield penetration. If I were going with distortions, I would be going crazy on the shield damage. Instead, I've gone with just sheer energy damage. How well will that work out? We'll find out. First, though, I gotta get to the pad. Oh, that's a bad sign. There we go. When the door opens and there's nothing but pitch black, that's a bad sign. What just happened there? Did my ship just take damage just sitting there? In any event, let me see if I can get the lights on. You can see that I've got the weapons now on the wings. So let's power things up. And online. Stop making me look bad. Go online. There we go.
Welcome. Your journey begins now.
Star Citizen, Star Citizen. I'd say never change, but that would be really counterproductive. Since I'm on a new server, that means any bounties I may have had are gone. It's also possible that my reputation took a hit from the loss there. We're going to grab another medium threat because that was the highest end that I was able to do with a fight previously. So what I would like to do is see how different the experience is now that I've changed up the weapon systems. Also, again, always grab call to arms. Go to the map. Find my target, conveniently sitting here over at Ita.
Launch complete.
I do still have the gimbal auto assist on. And, you know, so again, it's like, why not? The theory here is to be able to get up close and bring on the pain. The goal, of course, being giving them the pain, not receiving the pain. So far, so good. No problems with the quantum drive today. Well, on the server. Yeah, I think we're ready for that now. And I believe it'll only take one more hop
Quantum travel complete.
to bring us to our target destination. Cementi O'Neill. With one L. Oh, I knew I shouldn't have commented about the quantum drive. Brake alignment, realign. And here we go. 35 kilometers out. Well, closer now, obviously. Kicking up my speed a bit so that I'll close that distance faster. It would be nice if the guy spawned in before I got there, but that's been an issue during the last patch or two. One day, bounty hunting will be a little more interesting, but it ain't there yet. Closing fast. Of course, I might be closing fast on an asteroid, so maybe I better bring the speed down just a tad. If I'm going to be blown up, I would prefer to be blown up by an enemy starship, not by, you know, poor piloting. Okay, well, we're 3 kilometers out and we still haven't gotten an actual target yet. See, here's the thing. When it says neutralize the name of the target, that's just a navigational waypoint. It's telling you this is generally where you need to go. When you see the waypoint with just neutralize on it, that's saying, yes, this is where your target is. Go shoot him. So hopefully, at some point in the not horribly distant future, evil, mean, bad people will finally show up and attempt to do the thing. Unfortunately, I really don't know what kind of algorithms are involved that determine how long you have to wait. In fact, I was really hoping for better. Here I am, about 120, 95. You can tell I'm bored when I'm trying to see how close I can get to a waypoint marker without going through them. 1 meter. In fact, I'm so close to him that I can no longer actually... In fact, I'm pretty sure that I am literally on top of the marker. Okay, back down to 17. I am 4 meters away from the navigational marker. And this is why it's probably a good thing that when the target spawns in, it will not be at this marker. Because if he did, it would probably result in both of us exploding very quickly because his ship would probably try the starship mating dance with my ship with explosive results. I really did mean to check to see if I needed to repair any damage on this thing. It looks like it's got some damage at the back end for some reason. I mean, got this ripple stuff on here. And considering I just claimed the ship, I shouldn't. This ought to be brand spanking new. Oh look, I've already got this damage and wear back there. Oops, guess who showed up? Wait, should be showing. There we are. Alright, he is flying a Cutlass Black. Well, if there's any starship I love exploding, it's the hot garbage of Drake Interplanetary and their Cutlass Blacks. Let's see how well we do with our improved weaponry. First, though, I've got to get close because the neutrons are close and the attritions are close. Well, we certainly are doing something to his shields because They are taking damage.
Target has been destroyed.
That's always satisfying. Yeah, Cap a little upset about my commentary about the Drake Cutlass Black. I refuse to apologize. So not even properly fit, even if you have an improperly fit Mustang, you can take down the Cutlass Black. And boy, that's satisfying. But now let's see about the mission that I could not defeat. The high-risk threat. Last time, I got a Valkyrie to deal with. What will I get this time? I would like to get another Valkyrie, because if another Valkyrie shows up, that would be a perfect comparison as to the difference a couple extra guns and the type of guns would make in this situation. That said, it'll still be a tough fight. And there's still an excellent chance that I'll see a Hurricane or a Vanguard work. Either one of those. There'll be fights, but I don't think they're nearly as scary as the Valkyrie.
Quantum travel complete.
And the Valkyrie is mostly scary because it has all the guns. Hurricane's kind of scary, but for different reasons. Oh, somebody else is on my radar. It's blue, which means it's another player. I'm just kind of curious, so I'm going to scan them. Ah, no, that's not what I wanted. No! Oh, I've got that. There we go. Ah, forget it. I'm gonna scare this guy into thinking I'm trying to kill him and he'll kill me, so I better just jump. There we go. I don't need to know anything about that ship that badly. And I was just trying to get the scanner up here so I could scan him and see what he was, who he was, what he was flying. Better to just leave it be. The guy's probably trying to do his own bounty, just like me. I mean, I know he wasn't having his own bounty because he was blue as opposed to red. If you were red, that would mean he had crime stat, and he would be a legitimate target. I'm actually kind of lucky. It was always possible that I could have accidentally hit him and started racking up my own crime stat rating. I prefer not to get crime stat unless I'm trying to get crime stat. Okay, we are 11 kilometers away and closing. And looks like he's spawning in. That's good. Where is he? And he is flying a Vanguard Warden. I know it's hard to read. The display is kind of a dark orange on black and it's kind of hard to read, but I have the benefit of being practically right next to my screen, so... Oh, yeah, I could also look at my MFD down there where it's much easier to read. Oops. Either way, a Vanguard Warden is a heavy fighter. That means it's got pretty tough guns, it's got pretty good shields. But I still think he is a much more doable opponent than a Valkyrie. That said, I still need to get reasonably close before I can expect to start hitting the guy. The bad news, of course, is that he'll start being able to hit me soon. Okay, open fire. Let's see if I can do him some damage. So far, so good. I'm landing hits. Taking some decent catches, though, which is never a good sign. I think I've damaged him somewhere. Did I blow off a wing? I think I've... Okay, well, I've blown up a little bit more than a wing on that one. So, we've done a high-risk target. Not too shabby. But I really, really want to hit that Valkyrie. So we're going to take it up another notch. We're going to go up to very high-risk target. Now, to be fair, I usually have not seen a whole lot of difference between high-risk targets and very high-risk targets. They seem to be hitting the same pool. Warden, Valkyrie, or Hurricane. So I'm not really sure if you're really seeing any real difference in threat level from a practical standpoint. I mean, clearly they're a higher threat level because they say it's a higher threat level, and they're paying you for a higher threat level. But from a practical point of view, if the targets on the high-risk threat are the same kind of targets you find on the very high-risk threat, what's the difficulty difference? Maybe their buddies come out faster. I don't know. That's certainly a possibility. Or maybe it's increasing the odds of you running into the Valkyrie as opposed to the Hurricane, for example. Again, don't really know. Could go either way here. So we will find out in about 35 kilometers. Plus, however extra time it takes for the opponent to spawn in. Now again, I'd want to reiterate. We are flying the Consolidated Outland Mustang Alpha. One of the 2 cheapest packages in the game. To buy the game, I think it's $45. You can either buy the Aurora package or the Mustang package. I usually recommend the Aurora, but this is a bit of a demonstration that the Mustang Alpha is not necessarily a completely useless pick. Now, all that said, we haven't guaranteed that it's an awesome pick either. Mustang Alpha is a dogfighter. Nothing more, nothing less. It can't carry cargo. Actually, that's not 100% true. I think it can carry cargo if you go to a trade terminal. But you're not going to make a whole lot of profit off of that. You cannot do box missions where you do basic deliveries because you've got nowhere to put it. Let's see, who do we got there? The Vanguard Warden. I was hoping for the Valkyrie. The Valkyrie is a better example for what I want to do. But a target is a target. So let's do a little quick close-in and then start seeing how tough this guy is. Unfortunately for him, I've already killed a Vanguard Warden today once. So I'm going to say that his odds of survival are not great. Yes, language. That'll teach you. Just for giggles, I want to see if I can find a pilot floating outside. Blew off, looks like a part of his front end. Maybe one of his guns. I don't see the pilot. Oh wait, is that the pilot? No, I think that's just another piece of debris. Or something even further in the distance. One of the group. Yeah, it's debris from this asteroid area. We will not be seeing the pilot's dead body anywhere. I'm told that sometimes you can. I've yet to experience that, though. So, let's take a quick look at the movie here. Go to my history here. The very high-risk threat target baseline payout is 17,500. High risk, 11,250. So what does that mean in a practical sense? Well, to find out, we're going to have to go somewhere that actually carries weapons. Let's see. Let me do a quick glance and find out where I can find ship weapons. Because I would like to be able to find the location. I'm just doing a quick check on her L3 would be good. Is her L3 close by? Of course it's not. But I do have the fuel to get there, so why don't we... I have the fuel to get there, but I've got too many things in the way. Okay, how about crew L5? Better. And I do have the fuel. Oh, and 2 hostiles just popped in. Why don't I take care of them first? Buccaneer. Okay. Should not be too much of a problem. I mean, I took out the Buccaneer using the default weaponry, so I should certainly be able to handle the Buccaneer. Unfortunately, what I'm having trouble doing is dealing with his desync issues. Oh, he's not going to be in. There we go. Next target, a Saber. Stealth fighter. Very respectable. But perhaps not the best. It's a stealth fighter, so it's not exactly really good if it can't shoot at you from stealth. And stealth mechanics in the game basically involves not being detected too soon. They're not using any cute things like cloaking devices or anything like that. It's just a question of reducing their EM and IR signatures so that your radar does not pick them up until it's too late. Their goal is to get a decent alpha strike on you. Now that we're in Quantum, we are using the stock Quantum drive here, and that's where we run into little bits of problems because, as you can see from here, it will take 287 seconds to get there. That's a little shy of 5 minutes. Or, to put it another way, I may have chosen for it. Maybe I'll be lucky and Crew 05 will have a better Quantum drive around too. In the meantime, I'm going to hop over to the Delphi thing and see if my security rating has gone up any. I'm just shy of getting myself to the advanced operative status. Right now I'm getting 10%. Theoretically, I am right now getting a 10% bonus on my bounties if they're offered by Hurston Security. If I can get to advanced operative, that number will go up to 15%. Not a bad number. However, I'm not there yet. I'm close, but it's still going to take a little bit of work. Now, as far as the Bounty Hunters Guild is concerned, I'm deep into the Veteran Guild member, where I have access to the Master License, which I've picked up along the line, that allow me to go after extreme risk targets. Sadly, however, the highest rank, Guild Steward, has nothing. So, eventually, at some point, the Bounty Hunters Guild will say, "Yeah, you're cool, dude. We're gonna make you a Guild Steward. We're not gonna give you anything for that, but hey, we can call you Guild Steward." Annoying. But that's the game. Things are always in motion, always being added. Maybe not to the speed we might like, but it is what it is. I also feel the need to point out something that perhaps I haven't had a chance to do in earlier streams. Specifically, a more recent pickup. Vaughn. Now, Vaughn is a criminal. If we look at his dossier here, it says, investigated by authorities in connection to dozens of assassinations. The identity of this shadowy individual, or group of individuals known as Vaughn, remains unknown. Vaughn keeps clients and contractors completely separate and deals with both only through Spectrum, which has made it extremely difficult for law enforcement to learn the identity of the person or persons behind this broker service. So it is possible to pick up missions from him. They show up in the personal tab. Obviously not right now. I'm between systems and between consats. But a couple weeks ago, I decided to finally at least do one of Vaughn's early missions. So I am currently with the status of potential operative. Now the bad news is there are no special perks associated with Vaughn. So he's kind of like the opposite of the Bounty Hunters Guild, but without the licenses. I have no idea if you can improve the kind of ships you're going against with Vaughn like you can with the Bounty Hunters Guild. Needless to say, of course, doing Vaughn's missions is a good way to get criminal status. In fact, pretty much not horribly long after I got my introductory mission and a couple of other of his missions under my belt, I had a couple bounty hunters decide that it was time for me to go. At which point I was able to check into my reserved suite at Klesher Rehabilitation. Ah, excellent. We're here. Now the whole point of coming here is I want to just take a quick look at the weapons shop and get a general idea of how much it costs to get some of these weapons. And yeah, I could have gone to Urkel on the street here and, looked at stuff there and done the pricing there. But then you don't really get to see some of the other places that are available in the game. This is one of the R&R stations. I don't know if it has, I don't think it has a refinery, and I don't think it even has a cargo deck. Because cargo decks tend to be pretty obvious. Going through the gases, waiting to get close enough. Let's see. Swap out the heat menu for Beautiful Glen Station. Let's get a landing pad for this.
Please proceed to assigned landing bay.
I'm passing it, aren't I? Yep, right over here. It's always good to pay attention. Drop the landing gear, drop the speed.
Landing gear engaged.
Try not to go so fast that I smack into the wall. And I like to do the auto land because I know it's going to position me right, so I should be able to use the repair services.
Landing complete.
Should, however, is not a guarantee.
Landing complete. Have a pleasant stay.
And I'm going to refuel up too. Very cheap, very inexpensive. It's a light fighter. Almost nothing is expensive with this. And what I really want to see is if it repairs the damage to the back end that I had earlier. Alright, yep, there it is. Nice and smooth again. No more broken bits of metal or metal fatigue or whatever. Just the way I like it.
Disabled.
Now, there is talk on one of the videos that came out not long ago for Star Citizen. They're talking about doing some revamping of some of these landing pads where I suspect they're going to start using these hangars. Or at least something that doesn't require you to land on a pad. Because pad ramming is still a thing. And it's possible that Port Olisar will mutate into something that uses drop-down hangars, or maybe it'll have flying hangars. Don't really know the answers yet, and God only knows when or how that'll happen, but I think the day of the open landing pad will be coming to an end sooner rather than later. In some ways that's good, and in some ways that's bad. Because, I kind of like having the landing pads out there, but I understand why they're moving away from that. Because players can be jerks. If the automated turrets around these stations were actually something better than worthless, it wouldn't be such a big deal. But it is. Now, a lot of these R&R stations have similar layouts. They use similar palette, for lack of a better phrase. Mainly because they're all owned by the same people. And that's why Olisar looks different, because Olisar is, well, not owned by the same people. And Grim Hex, of course, is his own animal. Yeah, see, we only have a Galleria or hangars and halves on here. This station has no refinery. It has no cargo deck. I think half the reason it exists is so that light fighters can come in and refuel. Okay, let's take a quick look around and see if we can find that weapon shop. It's not that way. There is a weapon shop this way, except it's the wrong kind of weapons. These are the ground weapons. We're not going into those. Let's see. Flea. Hello, Flea. How are you doing? He'd like to pirate my ship, steal my cargo, and shoot me out of an airlock. Eh. do I get to keep my spacesuit? Platinum Bay is here. I can at least take a quick peek at the Platinum Bay and see if I can get a better size 1 quantum drive. Okay, the problem with those, though, I have no idea which one of these are actually good. High tech tends to be decent. One of the things I don't really like about the descriptions on here is they really don't give you much in the way of statistics. You have to go to third-party sites to determine whether or not an item here is really any good. And it says it's a Class B military, but it doesn't tell me how much better it might be from the Rush that I'm using right now. Ooh, oh! So many people, they are asking me if I want to become famous. Oh, I've always wanted this opportunity. Oh, to be famous. To have my name in the lights. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. Come on, guys. So much for being famous. I'll have to settle for infamy instead. Okay, we're going to skip that because I want to find those ship weapons that I've been assured are somewhere on this station. I think I'm heading to the food court this way. I don't think I want to go this way yet. Let's go downstairs and see what they've got. There we are. There we are. The ship weapon store. And I don't really plan to be picking anything up here, but I do want to take a look at the size 1 weapons so I can give you a general idea of the kind of costing you'd be looking at.
Hi. Thanks for coming in.
We would be looking at guns, and we'd want to be looking at the size 1s. And you can see that we got Bulldog repeaters here, which are a laser repeater, 3700. We've got Havoc scatter guns. They are ballistics. They'll go for, what was that? They're a little bit more expensive. They're a little shy of 7,000. We got the neutron repeaters for 4,400. Omni Sky standard laser cannon, 5,200. And to think the point, and we've got these mass driver cannons, which are a little shy of 10,000. Sucker punch cannon, 2,600. So you can see that there's a fairly wide variety of size 1 weapons at just this particular shop, and they are not horribly expensive. So even if you do a bunch of very low risk targets for the, what was it, 3,000 a pop, 4,000 a pop? I think it was 4,000 a pop. Do 3 of those and you got 12,000 to work with. You can pick up multiples of many of these. Some of them you'd only be able to buy 1 of them at that point in time. It would be very easy for you to equip the wing weapons. And those are the size 1s. Those are the size 1s. If you want to look into upgrading your size 2 nose guns, we're still not looking at huge numbers. A little over 6,000, 10,000, 6,500. It is not difficult to outfit the Mustang the way you might like to do. Now, it does require you to do some consideration as to what kind of weapon you want to use. Maybe like ballistic repeaters, ballistic cannons, laser repeaters, laser cannons, scatter guns, laser ore. There's a wide variety of stuff on here. And come to think of it, the sucker punches, these aren't even the laser or ballistic. They're distortions, which have their own abilities. The point being, the options are there. It does not require much to make your Mustang capable of dealing with high-risk and even very high-risk targets with practice. With practice. That's always got to be a part of it. You learn by doing. Okay. Enough with the shop. Let's get back out into space. So if the only thing you want to do in the game, at least at the beginning, is to dogfight, you can earn yourself a decent living doing exactly that. And eventually you're going to earn enough credits that if you want to do other things in the game, you can buy other ships in the game with in-game credits and do reasonably well. Okay, that's right. I don't have to worry about pulling it up because that's stored.
You exceeded the allotted time to depart. We will have to return your ship to storage.
Okay, now it's going to be stored. Okay. I was a little too slow. For a few more weeks at least.
For your safety, please vacate the area.
You know something I don't there, Cap? Because I gotta tell you,
Ship storage procedure. For your safety, please vacate the area. Thank you for your cooperation.
yes, thank you, vehicle retrieval people. Capacitor gameplay. Not sure how it's going to be the money-making game it is right now. Well, you know, don't really know. It will change combat, but it doesn't change payouts. It'll also be interesting to see whether or not the capacitors are being used by your AI opponents. I mean, clearly, they need the help. The fact that I can mow them down like I can is a pretty good indicator that, yeah, the AI opponents need help. But we'll see. We'll see. It's a little early to make any big judgment calls. Right now, the 3.14 patch, unless something happened when I wasn't looking, it's still on Evocati status, which means only a very select group of testers are experiencing everything that 3.14 has to offer. And as you may have guessed, I am not an Evocati. Of course, even if I were, I wouldn't be able to say anything because, you know, non-disclosure agreements and all that. But I am more than happy to say upfront, not only am I not an Evocati, I will never be an Evocati. And the main reason for that is because I don't have the patience to do the testing that they require. That's too much like work. If I want to do that kind of work, I want to be paid. Okay, still an Evocati. We could be seeing Wave 1 in the next few days. That makes a certain amount of sense, especially if they want to get it out by mid-July. Although at this point it looks like that the mid-July might be closer to late July. Which will blow my prediction out of the water because I was predicting mid-July. Alright, let's bring up the power.
Your journey begins now.
And you know, since I'm closer to Crusader than I am to Hurston, might as well go to Hurston. Sorry, to Crusader. Get into some trouble there.
Complete.
Besides, my reputation in Crusader isn't as good as my Hurston reputation. It would be nice to burnish that up a little bit. Yeah, the big things coming in 3.14
Thank you. And please visit again.
is going to be the capacitor gameplay, the arrival of the constellation Taurus, and
Quantum travel engaged.
Horus.
Landing gear retracted.
Let's see, they have 4 days to make it live for your prediction to come through. Yeah, you know what? Somehow, I don't think they're gonna make it. Especially seeing as that there's a US holiday coming up tomorrow, which is observed from the federal standpoint on Monday. Which is great. If you work for the federal government, you get off the day after Independence Day. Good stuff. Now, once again, since I didn't upgrade my quantum drive on this ship, we are not looking at high-speed performance here. But it's still a faster trip than if I went back to Hurston. Also uses less fuel. Now, one of the things that got tossed around a bit on some of the Star Citizen videos over the last week was some of the descriptions about medical gameplay. And I found that pretty interesting. Basically, it kind of uses the global health, but it also kind of involves wear and damage on your assorted body parts. So you may be full health, but your leg is so damaged that you can't really use it anymore. Respawn mechanics will be different. The Cutlass Red will no longer be a respawn bed. It'll be able to repair what they call Tier 3 damage. I'm pretty sure they were Tier 3. I might be going backwards. And the Tier 3 damage is it's still bad, but it's not as bad as, say, Tier 2 or Tier 1. The Cutlass Red will be able to handle Tier 3 damage. The 890 Jump and the Carrack, I think, will be able to handle Tier 2. And at the moment, well, I shouldn't say at the moment, because obviously it's not going to be happening until at least 3.15. But the current plan is that hospitals will be the only place that you can deal with Tier 1 damage. But I'm reasonably, as in virtually 100% certain, that the Apollo starships, which are still in concept, will also be able to handle Tier 1 damage. Of course, they're still in concept, but I would not be surprised if they're not unannounced ships for when medical gameplay comes in. Because it makes sense to have the top tier medical ship available when you start inflicting top tier damage. But don't really know yet. They're usually not that quiet about it for one of their big ships coming out. They tend to, want to bring out the information about that as soon as they can. Then again, for all I know, the Apollos are actually already done. They're just being held back because of the lack of gameplay. I can't rule that out. Seems unlikely, but I can't rule it out. Alright. Now, since I'm here at Crusader Security, I am presently at the same level I'm at Hurston, actually. I thought I was lower, but I guess I must have done better than I thought around here. Unfortunately, it seems we only have one bounty available in the area right now. That surprises me a little bit. So let's let the Mustang Alpha do what it does. And in this case, what it does is not make my quantum drive work properly. Come on, guys. The bounty doesn't surprise me that it's near Yella, because Yella is known as the Moon of Scum and Villainy. It's not the Hive of Scum and Villainy. That would be Grim Hex, which orbits Yella. But if you're going to find trouble in the Crusader system, you have a better than good odds that they'll show up in Yella.
Quantum travel engaged. Quantum travel complete.
I'm actually rather surprised, to be honest. I really expected there would be more bounties available around here. Either everybody on the server is killing bounties in Crusader, or something really wonky is going on. Or maybe it's just I haven't been here long enough. Yeah, there we go. Now we have 5 bounties, so that makes more sense. The payouts, incidentally, the baseline payouts, are the same as they are in Hurston. You don't find a lot of variety in that arena. Quincy Beswick, we are coming for you. Unfortunately, Quincy is the ball, shall we say. Okay, let's cut the speed down and kick back, relax, have a beer. If, you know, I could actually get to my beer. What's my oxygen levels at? Pretty good, actually. 93. Oh, of course, I did just come off of the space station, so that would have refueled all of that. Okay, let's see. I think what I'd like to try to do just for the giggles is after we take out this bounty, I kind of want to see if I can land on this one of these asteroids and walk around on them. I strongly suspect I won't be able to do that. I suspect that the zero-G aspect will be into play, so I won't be able to land securely, and I won't be able to walk on them. But I'd like to do that just to give a proper impression of the scale of this, at least of the large asteroids. I mean, just by moving the ship nose around, you can see that it's not exactly a small one. Here we go. I've been waiting, looking all over for you, and it is a Valkyrie. This is exactly the test I wanted to have for this. The Valkyrie waxed the Mustang Alpha with only default loadouts. Let's see what happens when I've added a couple guns and changed up the nose guns a little bit. Let's see what happens when we come to play up close and personal. I feel like I'm doing damage. The shields do look like they are taking hits, and they are definitely taking depletion. Just problem with flying close, though, is that occasionally you have to worry about, you know, crashing into them. So you want to make sure that, you know, you have at least some distance. So far, so good. I'm not dead, and I feel like I am making progress. Of course, then we have the other end of progress, which means bits and pieces screwing around the asteroid. Well, that's not going to do wonders for my Crusader rep, that's for certain. And adding insult to injury. Yeah, contract failed. Come on, keep the hits coming. Crusader security demotion. Well, you know, stuff happens. Always an occupational hazard. Now, the sad thing is, I feel like I was winning that fight until that explosion. I don't know if I hit something or if he managed to get a really solid hit on me. Don't really know, but I feel that I was making a lot more progress in that fight with the ammo I had. So, we're going to collect the insurance again on the Mustang Alpha. In order to get over there, however, I'm going to want to get there a little faster than I've been, so we're going to take the trip over to Crusader in a somewhat faster vessel. Pad 4. that ought to get me where I want to go. I still feel that in the hands of a better pilot, the loadout I was using for that Mustang can take out an Anvil Valkyrie. It was just bad luck that did me in. Well, bad luck plus, you know, heavy damage. All right. Freelancer has a substantially better quantum drive than the Mustang does, so that should get me to Crusader pretty quickly. And I think I will tag Port Olisar first, so that when I get blown up again, I'll be able to at least be in the same system. Plus, hey, it gives me an excuse to fly the Freelancer again, because I've always been a fan of the Freelancer.
Hello, how can Miss help you today? Systems on.
Alright, set destination to Port Olisar. Why do I still have a target location? If I failed the bounty, I shouldn't have a target location anymore. Duck under,
Thank you. And please visit again.
and straight ahead.
Quantum travel engaged.
Hop of the map. Yeah, this will take me just a little over 2 minutes. Substantially faster than the amount of time it took me the Mustang. Ordinarily, I would have a red and gold paint job on here, but because this is Star Citizen, there is a bug that is currently preventing the paint from being applied. It's currently listed as a placeholder. Theoretically speaking, it will be fixed for the next patch. Theoretically speaking. I'm not going to go into further detail on the Freelancer because I expect to have I will probably do a focus on the Freelancer at some point in the future. But I want today to be about the Mustang Alpha because I've generally held a fairly low opinion of the Mustang Alpha. And that's because I feel that the Aurora MR is a better value for its price, because it lets you do more than just a dogfight. It can do the box deliveries, which I view as a pretty big deal. Plus, you can log out in the Aurora. It's got its own bed, although admittedly, bed log right now has issues. Let's put it that way. That's the nice way of putting it. Bed logging has issues.
Quantum travel complete.
Now, hope maybe the next patch will be easier on that, but I'm kind of doubting it. And we are still waiting for the cooldown. One of the downsides of having a good quantum drive is it has a lousy cooldown. And the quantum drives are going to give you the same problem here. If there's a bug that drives me completely nuts on a regular basis, it's the quantum travel bug.
Quantum travel complete.
Alrighty, get our communications up, get a landing pad.
Please
Now, I don't know if Olisar will be making its final appearance at the end of this patch. I don't know if it'll still be around in 3.14. But there seem to be hints that there's something that's going to definitely, quote unquote, I guess, kind of celebrate the end of Olisar. And I have a strong suspicion that it's going to be related to the Nine Tails lockdown. I don't have proof of this. But really, Nine Tails operates out of Crusader, and there are only so many space stations around Crusader. And the most logical one for it to be is Port Olisar. Ooh, Mercury Star Runner at dock. No, it'd help if I lowered my landing gear, wouldn't it? Why are they complaining about it pounding? Whoa, whoa, what the heck? Why is it trying to align me on... Ah, what? Okay. Okay, let's get back up here. Something... Whoa. A caterpillar? Okay, stop. Stop.
Blocking an active flight bay. Please vacate the vicinity.
Yes, thank you. Be quiet. We have a number of ships landed here.
Landing successful.
I am landing exactly where you jerks told me to. Don't talk to me about impounding my vehicle.
Systems off.
Stupid bugs. It's not as pretty a landing as if you auto land, but you know, I'm in my spot. Let's see, you've got one of the Reliant variants sitting out here. I thought I saw a caterpillar coming in. Ooh, it looks like someone left a gun here. Yeah, there's a caterpillar. It looks like the pirate caterpillar from the look. Well, maybe not. I'm not 100% sure. And I saw the Mercury Star Runner sitting over here. Ah, the Blackwell. Catchy name. If the owner of the Blackwell stumbles upon my stream, my compliments on a well-chosen name. Well, my ship's still sitting out here, so the impounding thing must have gone away. So we are going to make one more swing with the Mustang Alpha here. Because if I went through all the effort of getting here, I'm going to at least put the effort into trying to regain my status with Crusader security. It's also equally likely that they'll demote me yet again because I'll blow up again. Life is filled with little challenges. Waiting, waiting, waiting. There we go. Mustang Alpha. Any day of the year now. Preferably before the heat death of the universe. Okay, they're whining that they can't find a spot for it. Let's make sure they're telling the truth. They have been known to lie. Yep, there it is, BO1. Moral of the story? Never trust them. You see that big red thing pop up there? Don't automatically believe that they haven't found a spot. Open sesame. And here we are. Brand spanking new. Or as I like to think of it, Mustang number 3. I am easily amused sometimes.
Welcome. Your journey begins now. All systems operational.
Okay, there we go. Very high risk target. There we go. Tracking. Big shock. Use it yellow. Like I've mentioned before. If there's crime to be performed,
Launch complete.
the odds are it's happening at yellow.
Landing gear retracted.
Let's see if I can guarantee that my calibration is after my spooling.
Quantum travel engaged.
The bright side, I'm nicely fully refueled now.
Quantum travel complete.
Target acquired.
Quantum travel engaged. Quantum travel complete.
And let's see about closing in on the area. I might spend a little bit more space away from the big asteroid though, just in case it was a big asteroid that did me in. Oh, yeah, I hate it when that happens. Sometimes all the asteroids in the Ring of Yellow, they don't come in all at once. And that sometimes causes problems. People have been known to have asteroids spawn in the middle of their ship with predictable results. Usually involving broken bits of rock and metal. Mostly broken metal. With a broken pilot. And once again, our target has decided not to show up on time. Come on, man, I'm here to kill you off. You should at least have the dignity of being available on time to be blown up. I feel compelled to add that, once again, I am not overclocking my weapons. I'm not overclocking any of the equipment on here. That can make a difference in some cases, especially with energy weapons. But I'm trying to avoid the whole, hi, we're shutting down your weapons because you put too much overheating on them. I'm figuring the more fire I can put on them, the better. At least that's the theory. In practice, sometimes yes, sometimes no. Unfortunately, he has still decided to sit out. Let me hop over to my reputation, just for a moment. Now, according to the Crusader security reputation here, I am still technically a senior security associate, but if you go to the journal, wait, that can't be right. Wasn't I 10% earlier? So if I'm reading this right, they have demoted me to the position I already had.
Contact.
I don't get it. Anvil Valkyrie again. Awesome. Just the target I wanted to go after. I will beat this Valkyrie if it's the last thing I do. Admittedly, there's every chance that it will be the last thing I do. So far, so good. Meaning I'm not dead. These are important things. Oh, I'm taking hits. Oh, it's always a good thing when you hear them cursing at you. That means you're actually being effective. Whoa! Yeah, that was getting a little too... The problem is I'd like to be close because I need to let the neutrons do their work. But if I get too close, I'm likely to ram them, and... Well, they're more likely to blow me up than I am to blow them up on desync. Mass versus mass, they are going to win. It's that simple. So it's in my best interest not to be rammed by them. Because in those cases, they are going to win that fight. So far, so good. I would scan them, but I'm too scared of accidentally causing something horrible to happen. I want to keep the fire on them. I want to keep the weapons doing their thing on them. There we go. Valkyrie down. Those can be old, I think. They don't timestamp, so it's hard to know when you got the message. Yeah, that's true, but you see, they usually do demotions when you're blown up. I was just blown up a while back. That was, and I did see the demotion message as it was popping up on my screen. And I should be seeing in here anytime. Well, I don't know. I didn't really pay that close attention. So I'm not entirely sure what's going on here. Let me go back to the journal. And now I've been promoted to Senior Security Associate with 10% pay, which I already had. So I think what we're looking at here is a bug with how the reputation system interacts with the journal. According to the journal, failing the mission was supposed to drop me down to something. That's being controlled by reputation. But it says if I fail, I'm being demoted. But demotions are being handled by Delphi now. So I think what we have here is a disconnect. Because, you know, still security associate, still 10% pay. You haven't seen a lot of the synchronization between that and the reputation system. And I think that's a problem. I mean, it's not a major problem. I mean, big deal. There are bigger problems in Star Citizen than, you know, syncing up the journal into Delphi. But as a result, you cannot trust the journal when it tells you you've been demoted. If you want to know where things stand, the odds are good that it's the Delphi reputation system that's going to tell you where you're at. Likewise, don't have to worry about doing bad things right now because even going on a crime spree doesn't seem to have any long-term consequences for good guy missions. Yeah, I think at some point, increasing your status with the Bounty Hunters Guild or Crusader Security or Hurston Security should have a corresponding negative to their rivals. For example, we got 9 Tails listed as rivals here. Bounty Hunters Guild doesn't have any, which is surprising. Workers Party for Hurston Security. Eckhart and Blackjack for North Rock. Vaughn has a rival named, I think, Ruto. Most of these aren't in the game yet, but I would imagine that when the rivals do come in, doing work for the rivals will reduce the reputation of their rivals. So if I were to do some work for, say, Ninetales during the Ninetales lockdown, working for them should cause me to drop in Crusader Security. Likewise, if I'm doing work for Crusader Security, I should see my reputation for Ninetales drop through the floor. And I'm pretty sure that's where they're going to be going with this. But reputation is still in its very, very early stages. We're still in the infancy of that sort of thing. So that's pretty much where it stands for the moment. So that, in a nutshell, is working with the Mustang Alpha. We have taken a look at how it performed with default equipment, which was not bad. Certainly more than enough to get you money to buy you your wing guns and change up your nose guns if you wanted, to the point where you could take out very high-risk targets, albeit you have to be a decent flyer to do that. And that is my focused look on the Mustang Alpha. Once again, next week will probably be another one of those skip weeks for me. I have job-related stuff that will prevent me from doing my Saturday stream, but I may do a Sunday stream. I don't know what I'll be doing yet. I'm still kicking that around. We'll see what happens. Aside from that, I will also be streaming on Wednesday night, where I stream Star Trek Online. So if you like Star Trek and want to see the game and hear my, I'm not going to say insightful commentary because that would require me to be insightful. But if you're looking for a good laugh, hey, come join me then too. I hope you've enjoyed watching today's stream, whether you watched it live or whether you've caught it on video on demand, Twitch or YouTube. And I hope that you will visit again sometime. Thank you all very much. This is Korath Landwalker, signing off.